Today's math lesson in Chapter 11, we're focusing on Lesson 11.5, Angles in Two-Dimensional Shapes. Remember yesterday we focused on the names and attributes like vertices and sides. Remember, three-sided shapes are called triangles. They also have three vertices. Shapes that have four sides and four vertices are called quadrilaterals, though some quadrilaterals have special names like squares, rectangles, parallelograms, rhombuses. Five-sided shapes are called pentagons, and six-sided shapes are called hexagons. So let's take a look at what angles are. Today's I can statement says, I can find and count angles in two-dimensional shapes. Let's look at our model and draw. Go ahead and open to that page in your workbook. It says when two sides of a shape meet, they form an angle. Take a close look at where that arrow is pointing. It's the space between where the two sides meet. In the example below, it says this shape has three angles. That's an example of a triangle. Triangles have three sides, three vertices, and three angles. The shape above is a quadrilateral. How many angles does it have? 4. It also has four sides and four vertices. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the listen and draw page. Flip over to it. You're going to need a ruler and a pencil, so make sure you have both of those things now. Our directions say, use a ruler, draw two different triangles, then draw two different rectangles. So on the green geoboard, you're going to draw two different triangles. Remember, triangles have three sides, three angles, and three vertices. Go ahead and draw your two triangles. Remember, they need to be different. If you need more time, you can go ahead and pause. The next direction says to draw two different rectangles. So on the purple geoboard, go ahead and draw two different rectangles. Remember, a rectangle is a quadrilateral that has four sides. Two pairs of parallel sides, meaning the same amount of distance is between them. Go ahead and work on your two different rectangles. If you're having a little trouble, I'm going to show you mine now so that you can use them as a guide. On the top, you'll see my two different triangles, and on the bottom, my two different rectangles. All right, let's move on over to the share and show section. Our directions say circle the angles in each shape. Write how many. So looking at my first shape, I could count the sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That tells me it's a pentagon. Now I'm going to go ahead and circle, it's actually like a half circle to show the angles in that shape. Go ahead and do the same thing to yours. And then we can count that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 angles. Our next shape, number 2. Go ahead and do the same thing. Go ahead and use a half circle to demonstrate how you know where each of the angles are. Go ahead and fill it in, and then I'll show you mine. It should look just like this. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 angles. Remember, the space between where two sides meet makes an angle. Do you remember the name of this shape? If it has 6 sides, 6 vertices, and 6 angles, it is a hexagon. Take a look at number 3. Go ahead and identify your angles. Put your half circles to show that you know where they are, and then count them. There were 4 angles. This is a quadrilateral. It's also called a parallelogram. Remember, those quadrilaterals have a lot of special names. And the last one on this page, let's go ahead and find each of the angles. So you should have shown that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 angles. This shape also has 5 sides and 5 vertices, which tells me that it is a pentagon. All right, flip on over to your On Your Own section. The directions are the same. Circle the angles in each shape. Write how many. Remember, use that half circle to identify the angles. Go ahead and hit pause when you're ready. Fill that 5, 6, and 7, and 8 in on your own, and then hit play again to see the answers. All right, you should have just hit play. Go ahead and check your answers over. Make sure you identified all of the angles and filled in your answer. All right, still on the On Your Own page. This time our directions say, draw more sides to make the shape. Write how many angles. This is similar to yesterday's problem set, except this time we're counting the angles. So our first shape says we need to draw a pentagon. Well, remember, a pentagon has 5 sides. Right now, there are only 2 sides drawn. Well, one of my favorite shapes to draw when I'm drawing a pentagon is a house. So I'm going to finish this shape like it's a house. One step at a time, or adding one side at a time. If I already have 2 sides now, I still need to get to 5. So 2 plus 3 equals 5. I need 3 more sides to be added to this drawing. So let's do that one step at a time together. Draw my first one, and again, use a ruler. Be nice and neat. These should be straight sides. Now I'm up to 3 sides. Draw my next line or side. I'm up to 4. And now I'm up to 5 sides. How many angles are in that pentagon? Go ahead and show your angles with those half circles and fill in the number of angles. The next example says we need to draw a quadrilateral. Well, a quadrilateral has 4 sides. Right now, there's only 1 drawn. So if I only have 1 right now, how many more sides do I need to add to make this a quadrilateral? 3. So let's see. I think I'll draw a special type of quadrilateral. I'm going to draw a rectangle. So let's do that one step at a time. So right now I have 1 side. Let's draw the next side. Now I have 2 sides, 3 sides, and 4 sides. Again, I have 4 sides, 4 vertices, and 4 angles in a quadrilateral. Check yours over. You can even go ahead and label where each of those angles are. Holy cow, we're on problem solving already. Okay, let's look at our first problem solving question. It says, draw 2 shapes that have 7 angles in all. All right, I need to draw 2 different shapes, and they have to add up to 7 angles. Well, I can't draw a one-sided shape because that doesn't exist. Same thing, I can't draw a 2-sided shape because it wouldn't be closed. I can draw 3-sided shapes. Those are triangles. And I can draw a 4-sided shape. Those are quadrilaterals. Well, I figured out that 4 plus 3 equals 7. A 4-sided shape is a quadrilateral, and a 3-sided shape is a triangle. So I'm going to draw a quadrilateral and a triangle to add up to a total of 7 angles. And there they are. I drew a square for my quadrilateral, and I labeled each of the angles to show that there are 4. I drew a triangle and labeled each of the angles to show that there are 3. So if I count them up together, there are 7 total angles. You can draw the same shapes as me, or maybe you wanted to do a rectangle instead of a square. It's your choice, but it has to be a quadrilateral and a triangle in order to add up to 7 angles. Go ahead and take a moment to finish up your picture. Make sure you labeled the angles. If you need more time on this one, hit pause now. All right, this next one's a little more challenging. It says Ben drew three two-dimensional shapes that had 11 angles in all. Draw shapes Ben could have drawn. All right, so this time I have to draw three different shapes, and they have to total up to 11 angles. So that's like saying shape 1 plus shape 2 plus shape 3 equals 11 angles. All right, well, like we talked about in the last problem, there is no such thing as a shape that has one angle or two angles, because they have to have at least three sides to be a closed shape. So I came up with a few ideas. I thought to myself, well, I could do a triangle plus a triangle. That's 3 plus 3. And I'm up to 6. 5 more would be 11, and 5 sides is a pentagon, or 5 angles is a pentagon. So I could have done 3 plus 3 plus 5, or I could do a quadrilateral plus a quadrilateral. That's 4 plus 4 is 8. 8. And then if I add 9, 10, 11, that's 3 more, a triangle. So let's look at those ideas. So that first example, 4 plus 4 plus 3, that's like saying a quadrilateral plus a triangle would add up to 11 angles. Or I could do 3 plus 3 plus 5. That's like saying a triangle plus a pentagon equals 11 angles. You get to choose. I'm going to use the bottom one. I want to draw 2 triangles and a pentagon. And that's what I'm going to use for my example. So there's my 2 triangles, and there's my pentagon. So when I add those up, the first triangle has 3 angles, plus the second triangle has 3 angles. That makes it 6 total so far, plus the pentagon that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 angles. 6 plus 5, that makes 11 total angles. Again, you could choose to do 2 quadrilaterals, maybe 2 squares, and a triangle, and you would also come up with a total of 11. So there's 2 ways to answer this one. Go ahead and take a moment to finish your drawing. Again, if you need more time, push pause now. All right, our last problem said to fill in the bubbles next to all the shapes that have 5 angles. So there could be more than one. Be careful with that. Go ahead, what I want you to do is label all of your angles, and I would even put the number of angles right below each shape. That way I don't forget and I know which ones to fill in. I'll give you a moment to do that. All right. So if you've labeled yours, they should look just like mine. The first shape has 6 angles, so it's a hexagon. I'm not going to fill in the bubble because I'm looking for shapes that have 5 angles. The next shape has 5 angles. It's a pentagon, so I can fill that in. The next shape is a quadrilateral because it has 4 angles, so I don't fill that one in. And the last shape is another pentagon because it has 5 angles. So I can fill the bubble in for that one. All right, we've finished another problem set and you're ready for your homework. Take your time, use a ruler when you're drawing different shapes. And if you have extra time, go back on that GeoBoard website and have fun creating different shapes or different pictures out of shapes. Keep up the great work.